I like to think of Thumper as a fever dream of someone who's being held hostage in a power tools factory. You play as a metal beetle, hurtling down a roller coaster in space at breakneck speed, thumping and jumping in time to an intense industrial soundtrack, banking turns, jumping through hoops, crashing through bars, killing space tentacles and shooting shockwaves at hungry-looking kaleidoscope monsters. The more you score, the more the screen gets obstructed and the more it messes with your rhythm, because yes, Thumper is a rhythm game, but it's not like any out there at the moment. I've created this video because I've seen a lot of people online saying that Thumper is too hard and that they have no idea how to climb the leaderboards. Before going into the tips, here's a quick overview of the basic scoring. Blue gems equal points. There are lots of things to do to get points. The most important is to thump on the white rectangles by holding down X when you pass over them. So it's a good plan to get used to holding down X for as long as possible after you thump, so that you can get points from breaking through any red bars that you come across and stop them from damaging you. Breaking through the red bars like this also earns you more points. You can tell that you've got it right because it plays ascending notes, rather than a monotone thunking sound. You can also tell you're doing this right because you won't get damaged. Other ways to get points is by jumping into blue rings. Yes, the devs want you to literally jump through hoops to get a better score. And execute perfect turns when you come to the barriers on either side. You do this by holding X and turning at the very last moment before you get to the barrier. Press left if you want to bank left and right for right. You can use either the left-hand joystick or the D-pad to turn. If you're just starting out, D-pad is probably the best one to go for because it will give you more precision. Checkpoints. After each level section, you go through what looks like a monocle with tentacles, and then on the screen to your left, you'll see your scores for your previous section. From the top down, it goes blue gems collected, perfect turns, amount of kills, which is when you land on a thump after flying, and it sends a shockwave which kills any close tentacles coming up the track. A bonus for not missing any thumps, and a bonus for not getting damaged. These last two bonuses give you more points depending on how many sections you've gone through whilst not missing any thumps or getting damaged. So you get 1,000 points for each at the end of section 1, and each goes up by 500 points for each section you do whilst hitting all the thumps and not getting damaged. If you get through 22 sections, you score an extra 275,000 overall. So forget about S rank or getting all the hoops and bars, keeping these bonuses is your first priority. Here's a few tips on how to do that. Number 1, stay in the zone. Do whatever you need to do in order to stay in the zone. For me, that's not looking at my checkpoint scores, definitely not looking at my no damage or miss bonuses, not knowing how far into the level I am. Forget everything you do wrong as fast as possible. The angrier and more frustrated you get at this game, the worse you're going to play. If it helps, every time you mess up, tell yourself you're just doing a practice run and not aiming to beat your score or anyone else's. Number 2, don't try to be perfect in the beginning. This is probably the most important tip. Learn to do the basics comfortably. No perfect corners, don't even get hoops if it's messing up your game. Just focusing on S rank or S plus rank is not the way to get up the leaderboards in Thumper. If you try to learn to do everything all at once, you're going to get overwhelmed and want to throw the controller at the TV. Another problem with wanting to be perfect is the urge to keep redoing sections or starting from the beginning of the level every time you make a mistake. If you know the beginning of the level more than the end of the level, it's going to get a whole lot harder to keep your bonuses the further you go. It's also worth knowing that if you suspend the game for too long at the checkpoints, you'll lose your bonuses this way too. Advanced tips. Chaining pounds. Chaining thumps seems to get bonus points. That's pounding on a rectangle and then pounding on the bonus thump. You can tell which ones are the bonus thumps because they glow a bright blue. Land on the last thump. So pounding on the final thump of a section at these portal looking things seems to get more points than pounding on the penultimate beat. You also get extra points for pounding on the final thumps of track sections during boss fights. Right, that's everything I can think of for now. Let me know in the comments if I've missed anything.